Hello. Hello, guys. Hello, hello. I'm going to give everyone just a minute to get on here, and then I'm just going to get started. I have a lot to talk to y'all about tonight. I'm going to fix my chair. Alright, I'm going to pull y'all up on here just to make sure that I'm not going to look at comments while I go, but I do want to make sure I'm in the right spot. So say hi as you come in. If you're watching the replay, let me know. Hold on 1 minute. All right, just had to make sure my phone was right. Okay, so if you're watching the replay, let me know. If you're on live, say hi. Thank you. First of all, thank you to Stacy for asking me to come and talk to y'all. I'm so excited. I love talking about leadership. I feel like when I started Scentsy, I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now. And a lot of us can say that as leaders, that the reason that we started is not the reason that we're here. So leadership is definitely not why I started Scentsy. And the fact that this is what I'm doing now, like this is my full-time job, is crazy to me, but still super exciting. And a lot of us can say that probably as leaders because we don't really join thinking that all of this can happen, but it does, right? Alrighty, let's see. All right, now I can see people start coming on. Hey guys, hello, hello. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Thank you to Stacy for asking me to speak, like I already said. Stacy is actually someone that, she probably doesn't even know this, that I kind of watched from afar for a long time. I'm pretty sure it was Austin. Stacy will have to correct me if I'm wrong. It was some event that I saw her at. She was with Chloe, and she's just someone that I've always looked up to in this business. So super excited to be here. Okay, so I want to just tell y'all about my story a little bit, just so y'all know that what you're going through, I can relate to. And that's the beauty of this business, is that we all have our own stories, and though they're so different, they're also alike in a lot of ways. So I joined in September of 2017. I joined on a join special. The person I joined with, I went to college with. She didn't ask me to join. I saw that she posted about the join special. She posted about it again, and that's when I messaged her and I was like, I think I want to do this. So just want to tell you a little bit of backstory. From that moment on, I did have an amazing launch party. I actually hadn't used Scentsy that much. I had been a user before, but at that point in my life, honestly, we really couldn't afford a lot of Scentsy, to be completely honest with you. So I hadn't used it in a while, but I was very familiar with the products as far as the wax and the warmers, okay? So had a successful launch party. We were in Fort Stewart, Georgia at the time that I joined. Fast forward, so September 2017, I hit lead February 2018, okay? So not super long, but it was never my intention to sponsor in this business. It was literally just, my intention was to make an extra $300 a month so we could go to the beach more often. We lived at Fort Stewart, like I said. Savannah was about an hour drive, and the beach was about a little over an hour, and I wanted to go do that more often, okay? So February 2018, I hit lead. I had the first person join under me. She came to me. I did not ask her to join. Poor thing. March 2018, so the very next month, is when I hit Star Consultant. And so that was pretty fast, right? My leadership intro was pretty quick. I went from lead to Star in a month. But after I hit that Star title, I was that for 16 months. I was a Star Consultant for 16 months. So a lot of people at that point would be like, okay, like this maybe isn't for me. It's not really working out. Okay, so I'm just now seeing comments on Facebook. I pulled it up because they haven't been working, but hello to everyone. But anyways, so I was a Star Consultant for 16 months. I kind of hit a point in my business where I was like, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in leadership. I didn't have any systems. I wasn't even partying, okay? I had my friends and family. I had my local customer base in my neighborhood, and that was pretty much it, okay? People came to me when they needed a refill. I'll be completely honest. Fast forward, like I mentioned in my intro post, July 2019. So this is 16 months later. We actually moved in June of 2019 to Fort Drum, New York, which is where we are now. And at the very beginning of the month, me and my husband, we literally had to sit down and have a hard conversation. My boys were both going to be in school for the first time, like a real full-time elementary school. And I had always said that I would stay at home until they went to school. So we had to have that conversation of what is next, right? So what am I going to do? We got here at the end of June, early July, like I mentioned, but we knew that he was going to be deploying soon in the next few months. So that was also a factor. But we literally sat down. It was also the month of Austin SFR in Austin, Texas. And I'd already scheduled to go do that long before this all happened, okay? So I knew that we would be moving, but I really just made a rash decision, and I was like, I'm going to Texas, okay? But before I went, we had that conversation, like I said, and we really sat down and said, okay, either we're going to make and try our best to make Cincy a thing, or I'm going to go back to work full time. Because like I said, both boys were in school. That's just kind of like what we agreed on when we first started having kids. So the month before July, my paycheck was, and I'll put the income disclosure in here, was $359. So I was making my minimum, right? As a star consultant, that's pretty, in my opinion, low for what it could be. But that's just even more proof as to that conversation I had with my husband being such a big change in my business, okay? So obviously from that decision, we decided that we would make Cincy a thing. And when I say we, I mean me, because Eric's in the Army, like I mentioned. He was deploying soon. He does help me when he can, but if you're a military spouse or you're familiar with the military, they literally cannot be counted on unless it has to do with the Army. Facts are facts, okay? When the Army calls, everything else has to be dropped, including anything to do with us, unless it's a serious family emergency. So before going to Texas, we decided that that would be my focus. So my first thing was like, okay, what do I do to change this? Because $350 a month is not the income that we need. Now, I do want to take a step back and just say that my boys went, I stayed at home with them, right? For their whole childhood before elementary school, thank goodness. But that didn't mean that we didn't go without, okay? We had a lot of sacrifices that we had to make as a family for me to stay at home. And I didn't want that to continue with me having a job, right? Before we got married, I was the breadwinner. I was the one who brought the money in. Then we got married and roles reversed. And so we have gone through a lot of changes in our marriages, but I knew that what I was providing for our family at that point was not something that could be, or that I wanted to be sustained. I wanted to give my family more. I wanted to give my boys more. I didn't want anything to hold us back from what we wanted to do as a family, okay? And we know that money equals freedom. That's what I always say. It's not about the money, it's about the freedom it allows us, right? But changes needed to be made for that to happen, okay? Like I said, my check before that was $359. July 2019, I attended SFR as a star consultant. And while I was there, I promoted to superstar consultant. Okay, that was the first and the last SFR I've ever been to. So that was just the biggest turning point in my business, because I had already decided before I went that I was going to do this. I went to SFR with an open mind. Actually, one of my now directors was with me, and we made a pact at SFR that we would one day be walking the stage as directors. Little did we know, the next SFR we actually got to go to, I would be an SSD and she would be an SD. So that kind of shows you the power in that we had a magical 2 years of how things changed, right? So from July 2019 to September of 2019, I was Superstar Consultant in July 2019. I hit director in September 2019, okay? So I was a director not too long after that. July, August, 2 months. I was a director. And then from then, Eric left in March 2020. He literally left the day that the NBA closed for COVID. So everything was happening with COVID. He literally sat on the airplane for an extra day at the airport, and they were trying to decide if they were actually going to go overseas or not because of COVID. He was the last flight out, of course. We always get the short straw on that. So he left March 2020, and the reason I tell you stuff like that is because I could have easily said, oh, my husband's deployed, I can't. I have to take care of these kids by myself, I can't. Instead of using things as an excuse, I chose to use that as the reason that I was going to do this. I was going to make something. I didn't know what I even wanted to do. I just knew that I needed to change my future and my boy's future. And that's a big deal to go from not working, like literally at all, to wanting to change the future of your family. It's a big deal, okay? So I used him deploying as the reason to why I was going to work my ass off, right? And honestly, it's a good excuse because you can either be the person to look at it and say, I don't ever get time to myself because I'm always with the kids. He's gone. I'm running around doing double duty. I'm doing all the things around the house. I'm literally being a mom and dad. I don't have any family within 800 miles of me. So many excuses as to why I could have just stopped my business, but instead I saw it as, okay, when the boys go to bed, I'm not going to sit on the couch and watch TV. He's not here to hang out with. So I'm going to use that time to work. When the boys are at school, that's what I was thinking, I would work and get into things. COVID happened, and that obviously didn't happen. And that's another thing. COVID happened. I could have said, I'm here by myself teaching these kids one-on-one, virtual school. We all did it. We could have used that as an excuse to let our business go, but instead we're going to use it as the reason that we're going to need to push forward, okay? And that's resilience. And that's part of being a leader too. It's not always going to be easy. It's going to be hard. And once you push through those hard times, that's when the big, bright, beautiful things will happen, okay? So May 2020, 2 months after he left, I hit SD. So I had 2 frontline directors, hit director. Super exciting time in my life. And I was literally like, what is happening? What is happening, right? And then 11 months later, almost a year later, I hit SSD. April 2021, so I just hit 1 year being SSD, and I've been at paid title ever since. And I say that with pride because it takes a lot to be paid title as a SSD, including keeping 4+ directors, right? So I tell you all of that to say that from July 2019, when I started that month as a star consultant, to April of 2021, so not even 2 years. I'm really bad with months. A year and 9 months later, I went from star to superstar director. And I'm going to tell you how I did that, of course, because I'm a very literal person on here are the steps that I took to do it, right? So that is amazing. And I can say, toot toot, that's amazing. I did big things. I had sleepless nights. I worked my ass off. I did hard things. I had hard conversations. I went outside my comfort zone. I did all of those things that ended in what is my reality now. Now I say, oh, it's only a year and 9 months, but a year and 9 months of consistent hard work where even when you're not seeing results and you're putting it in, I still was there. Yes, I still showed up. A lot of y'all said that's one of the perks to leadership, or one of the things that you're really good at, and that is so important, because if you're not willing to show up, I'm going to be really nice tonight. If you're not willing to show up, I don't know what to tell you, right? You're on this video watching it live. Awesome, I get life happens. But if you're not willing to show up for your director, your star director, you can't expect your team to show up for you, okay? And we always talk about that on our leadership page. When you're finding that your team's not showing up for you or that people aren't showing up when you expect them to, you really need to do that self-reflection on yourself. Are you showing up for you, and are you showing up for your director and your star director? Because your team's watching that. And if you're not doing it for them, they're not going to do it for you. Okay? That's just the truth. All right, so how did I do that? Let's talk about that. And that y'all have heard this. I know you have. First things first, focus. Put my head down, put my blinders on, and I went to work. The beauty of this business is that we can learn from others, take from others, and make it our own. And that this is really a community-based business. If you need to know how to do something in Scentsy, it's on YouTube or it's on your director's page, your leader's page, your uplines page. It's even probably on Google, okay? So I did focus on what I wanted to do, but I also knew that I needed to figure out who had already been there, okay? So I literally I literally got on YouTube and said, Scentsy business, I don't even know what I searched, Scentsy business with a move, okay? And Chelsea Otto's video came up. I love her. She is a game changer. And her training, just like this, was about how and what to focus on when you're PCSing in a military move, okay, with your business. So that video changed everything. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about tonight is you have to train yourself. It's not your upline's responsibility to make you successful. It's your upline's responsibility to give you the tools that you need to be successful, but they cannot do the work for you, and you cannot expect them to. And you also can't sit back and wait for someone to do the work for you. If what you're doing is not working, it's not your sponsor or your upline's fault. It's your fault. You have to change it. You have to find what works for you, right? There's not one way to do this business. And once we start taking that on and saying, this is my business, I'm an independent business owner, I need to take control of my own business, that's when things will start to change in your business. Because if you're sitting back waiting for Stacy or whoever else in your community to do it for you, they literally can't. I'm here to tell you they can't, okay? So first things first, PRV. 2K PRV consistently minimum, okay? If you're not there yet, what I tell my leaders is take an average of your last 6 months of PRV. So you take your 6 months, say you did like 500, 1,000, 1,000, 500, 500, 500. You're going to add those all up from your 6 months and divide by 6 to find the average of the last 6 months. Wherever you are with that, I want you to add 250. Okay, once you do that, I want you to up it to 250 more. Those are the small steps to that big goal of 2K. If you're already a big PRVer and 2K PRV is easy, you're one step ahead, okay? But you also can't sit there and just do 2K PRV. If that comes easy to you, as a leader, if you want your team to do it, you need to do it. You need to push yourself to then add 2250 PRV, 2500 PRV, 2750 PRV, right? And just keep adding those little increments month by month until you get to where you're like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is going to provide me the paycheck I want to, and I can do this without going absolutely insane. That's to the point where I am right now. 3K is my point where I'm like, I can be happy, healthy, and not pushing myself. But I've also done 7K months because I pushed myself, okay? So you have to know, again, that it's your business. You get to decide how much PRV you want. PRV in sales is a choice. It's not luck. None of this business is luck. And I'll be completely honest with you that I thought a lot of this business was luck. I thought you had to be pretty. I thought you had to be perfect. I thought you had to have a large following. I thought you had to be popular to be successful, because that's what a lot of people are in this business. My phone's dying. But I'm here to tell you that no, you can be you and still be successful, okay? So 2K PRV consistently minimum. Get there, stay there, keep going. Second thing is 2 new teamies a month. And you're like, okay, 2 new teamies a month. That's not easy. Let's be real clear that that's not easy to do. And once you have that goal and you can do that consistently, you're going to see that not only is your front line growing, you want your front line big and wide as it can go, right? And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that sponsoring, but you will see that your team is going to do what you're doing. They're going to be like, dang, she's adding another person. Dang, she's adding another person. I need to see what she's doing. Then they're going to start trusting you as a leader because you're doing what you're telling them to do. You're doing what they see other successful leaders do, right? So that 2K PRV, 2 new teamies a month. And then the third thing is to coach constantly and consistently, okay? That's so important. So let's go back to PRV. High sales is the vessel to a blooming business. High sales is the vessel to a blooming business. And I'll say this again at the end, but if you ever feel like you're stuck in your business, if you feel like you can't sponsor anyone else, you don't know anyone else to sponsor, you don't know anybody else to have a conversation with. I've been there. I feel it. 1, there's plenty of people out there. 2, you need to go back to sales and you need to go back to the basics, to PRV and partying, okay? Because that's those people turn into customers. Those customers turn into hosts. Those hosts turn into teamies, okay? I think 6 of my last 8 are people that I've never met in real life, okay? Because I met them from a party. I'm going to have to plug my phone in. Hopefully I don't die. Okay, let's see here. Let me see what charge I'm at real quick. Okay, we're going to try and do it without it. Okay, so I asked what I did. I asked all my current customers to party, and I focused on growing my customer base after we moved, right? I wanted a local customer base, and I wanted to grow my current customer base, but then COVID happened, right? So I had to get creative, just like we always did, and I really focused on online parties, and that's all I did. Multiple parties every single week. Anything I could fit in, I did. If you are telling yourself that you can't book parties, stop telling yourself that. You can book parties. Parties are a choice. Sales are a choice, okay? You're choosing not to do sales. You're choosing not to book parties. You're choosing not to ask people, okay? Sorry, not sorry, it's the truth. Stop saying you can't do something in this business. Everything is a learned skill. If you don't know how to do it, YouTube or Google it, okay? Take the negativity out. There's no room for it. There's literally no room for it if you're trying to go forward. Some months are going to be harder than others, but you can still party and meet new people. Even if it's one party, that one party could be the game changer in your whole business. Where you meet your future director, where you meet your future SD, where you meet your future best friend, okay? To dive a little bit more into sponsoring, what we talk about in our leaders group is ATF, to sponsor. We ask, and I know that sounds really simple. My business is very simple, but a lot of times people are not asking, okay? ATF, ask, track, follow up. First, you're going to ask them, then you're going to track that you asked them, and then you're going to follow up. Because the first thing that I ask people when they come to me about sponsoring, how many conversations have you had this month? I fully believe that sponsoring is equal to numbers. If you're asking 2 people a month to join your team, you're probably not sponsoring. If you're asking 30 people a month consistently for 3 to 6 months to join your team, you're probably going to have at least 2 new teamies a month. Okay, I'm not saying ask 30 people one month and no people the next month. This is something that needs to be consistent. And we always say 1 conversation a day, 7 a week, or 30 a month. You can break it down however it looks pretty to you, but sponsoring is in the numbers. And if you don't have those people to have that conversation with, to build that relationship with, to communicate with, that's where you go back to your sales and you meet new people, okay? So ask, track, follow up. I literally have a very simple spreadsheet somewhere in this mess at my desk, and it has their name, the date, and a big column for me to write whatever I want to. I usually write in there what their response was to me when I asked them, okay? Sometimes I'll also put in there why I think they would be good. You should be asking so many people that you don't realize that people are ignoring you, you don't realize that people are saying no to you, okay? The tracking is the biggest thing in that, because when you're constantly thinking of something, you're going to feel like you're doing it all the time. I'm always talking about sponsoring. Okay, I challenge you for the rest of this month. It's the 12th. I don't even know how many days are in this month. But for the remainder of this month, I want you to ask one person a day to join your team. And then I want you to track that. And then I want you to share that with your upline, your sponsor, your director, or Stacy. Okay? You will realize at some point that you're not having that many conversations unless you're already tracking it. And then the follow-up, the F of ATF, comes in when things like a host exclusive kit comes up. A join special comes up, you see them post something that you think would be a good time to then offer again, or if it's been like 3 months or more, I ask again, okay? But in between that, I'm still touching base with them. They're still my customer. I'm still following up with them on how their stash is and stuff like that. So we're not just asking people to randomly join. This is after building some kind of communication with them, having them as a host, okay? Let me check we're good. Okay. So this is not luck, it's skill. Power in numbers and the host exclusive kit, that's my jam. That's the majority of my joins. And it's usually they're not even the host. Any party that you have is an opportunity for a host exclusive kit. Even more reason to party. If the host doesn't want it, all you need is 1 penny left in those rewards to give it to someone else, a $59 kit. Okay? All you need is a penny. So anytime that you have a party, that's an opportunity to give it away. And when I say give it away, I mean you are gifting them a kit. That's a $59 host exclusive kit. If they're not the host, it's a gift and it needs to be treated that way. Okay. I've only given maybe 2 completely free kits away. And one is about to be a director. And the other one, I don't even know where she is. So I don't necessarily suggest the free kits because I want them to invest something. I usually like to make the kit between $30 and $50, okay, if not full price. So offering those host exclusive kits from parties that you have, from your catch-all parties that you should be having on your website, or hosts themselves. Every single host gets asked if they've ever thought about doing something like this, or just simply if they want to get paid off their party, okay? It doesn't need to be, they don't need to be a world changer to start this business. Once we get them in, that's when we start, building our community and teaching them what we do and how we do things. And then maybe they want to they want to become a director. They want to change the world, right? I sure as heck didn't come into Cincy wanting to change anything but $300 to my bank account, okay? And I'm so sorry, the comments are off and on. I can see them back and forth, but I don't know if I'm seeing all of them. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay, so coaching. The way that I did coaching, I did Google Forms and I did a 1-hour phone call reviewing pretty much that Google form. I figure out who to coach and only coach people who are saying they want it and showing. Saying and showing, both, okay? That they wanted it, that they wanted more, that they wanted to sponsor, that they wanted a higher paycheck, that they wanted a higher title, whatever it may be. And knowing people's why is important, right? Because that can change literally daily. And having that communication with your front line is so important, okay? If you're not building a community while you're bringing these people on, you're doing yourself, really, gosh, you're wasting your time, honestly. Right? You want to work with people closely that are doing the same thing or want the same thing that you do. If they don't want it right then, that's fine. There's a place for everybody on your team. But me personally, my time is precious. I do this full time, so all of my people know that if I'm working with someone, it's because they want to go to the next step in their business. If they don't, I still love them the same. And I tell them, once you're ready to take the next step, I will be glad to pour into you and do a call or give you some advice. But until then, just have fun with your business, right? So saying and showing, that's all you need. Numbers don't lie. All right. If I didn't feel like I had anyone to coach, I went back to sponsoring. If I felt like I didn't have anyone to sponsor, I went back to partying. I never asked my team to do something that I don't do. or that I've tried or that I know works, okay? So if you're not hitting your 500, don't sponsor. Sorry, not sorry. If you can't hit 500 PRV, you have no business bringing people into the business when you can't hit your 500 PRV. Work on your 500 PRV, figure that out first, and then focus on the next step of sponsoring. You have to have that first leg figured out, and there's no reason you should be bringing on people and not helping them, and you can't really help them until you have your business set away first, okay? So once you're ready, all of this is talking about evolving as a leader because you get to choose, okay? You get to make a plan of what you want to do in this business. No one, like I said, can do this for you. Make a plan and work closely with someone who is doing it. Follow them on social media. If it's someone that's in your upline, make sure they know. Communicate that with them. Hey, Stacy, I want to do big things. I'm ready to take the next step in my business. I'm sure Stacy knows exactly what she would do, right? So letting your people know if you want help in the next step, if you want help, you have to let them know. If you have been silent for months and then decide to come back and you're like, oh, but no one's helping me, that communication factor has to be there, okay? And same thing to your people as leaders. You need to let them know, hey, when you're ready to come back in, let me know. Yes, because we're not mind readers and we can't continually to pour into drains, okay? Cut the fluff and focus on the 3 legs. 3 legs in a seat. So PRV, sponsoring, coaching, self-care, right? So we're cutting the fluff. We're not doing things that aren't income producing in our business. If you want to make that big change in your business, the fluffy stuff needs to go, right? So the creating flyers, the taking pictures, the stuff that is not bringing you income needs to be put towards the end of the list, okay? It's not always going to be fun to build a business. I know that may not sit well with people because they're like, oh, if it doesn't bring me joy, I'm not doing it. Well, guess what? It is what it is. You're not going to love every single aspect of your business. You're probably not going to love asking people to join your team. You're probably not going to love asking 30 to 50 people to party with you. I don't love it, but I do love the freedom that it allows my family from our paycheck. Okay? So you're going to have to do some things that you don't necessarily love. Okay? Keep it simple. If you're stuck, go back to PRV. Plain and simple. Go back to PRV. Build your customer base. That's where it all stems from. Yeah, you may have a few joins here and there. You may have some people join on a join special. But the most successful people in my business, in my team, in my group are people that I've built a relationship with. I know exactly what they want. I know exactly what they're willing to do to get it. And I know what their work ethic is as far as what they want to do and what they're willing to do. And we work closely. We keep each other accountable. We have those hard conversations. As a leader, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. If one of your heavy hitters is saying that they want to hit a 5K month and they're at 2K on the 25th of the month, having that hard conversation, being like, hey girl, what's going on? What was missed this month? You never know. They could be going through something personal, or they could be just giving up on themselves and they just need a pep talk. Or anything in between, right? So really having those hard conversations and keeping people accountable that are wanting to do certain things. Feed your brain. Podcasts, trainings, YouTube, Google. Keep it positive and moving forward. This is huge with leadership and really with personal development. You control what gets into these things. You control it. So if you're listening to something that you don't drive with, that is just bringing your mood down, turn it off. Okay, I had to stop watching Grey's Anatomy because it was depressing. It literally was crying every night. It was not how I wanted to live my life. I had to stop watching the show. If I'm listening to a radio station and the DJ is always negative, don't listen to that channel. If you have a friend and all they do is talk negatively about other people, it's your life. You can cut them out. X. Okay? Podcast of people who are successful. Jessie Lee's one of my favorites. There's so many out there, guys. We have an amazing, like I said, community in Cincy. Get on YouTube and search Cincy. A lot of people will come up, okay? but keep it positive and moving forward, right? So we're not going to be pouring into or listening or letting anything pour into us that's not positive and helping us in our business. Growth and being comfortable do not coexist. Never, ever, 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 ever will they coexist. You're going to have to get uncomfortable to grow, okay? I was super uncomfortable when I made that decision of staying with Scentsy and really working with Scentsy, because I had to kick the fear of what people thought about me out the window. And I had this conversation with my husband because he was like, well, who is it that's holding you back? And when I named names, he didn't know any of them because they were irrelevant to our life. They were people from high school. They were people who he had never heard of, people I hadn't seen in years. Okay? But once I decided that my family, my boys' future, my family's future, our well-being was more important than anyone's opinion ever, that's when things changed, okay? And I promise you, again, it sounds so simple, but it's so important, guys. I saw something the other day that said something about someone, I'm sorry you don't like the way I live my life, but I check my bank account and it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's not all about money, but this business, most of us are in this business to make money, to make a living, to make a future. And once you stop letting other people's opinions of what you're doing hold you back, guys, it is so freeing to be you and to be comfortable in your skin and to be so confident in the way you do things, why you do things, how you do things. And once you reach that point, and you'll reach that point by continuing to be your authentic self, once you reach that point, there is literally no stopping you. Because people are going to either like you or love you. Probably either way, they're still going to talk about you. So you have to figure out what matters in your life and in your business, okay? So get uncomfortable. Do it. What, Susie Q's going to talk about you? Oh my gosh, she asked me to party. Like, I want free Scentsy. No, girl. Nobody cares anymore. We are in 2022. If you're not making money on your phone, I feel sorry for you. How about that? Okay? Know you're going to make mistakes along the way and grow in your actions. We're human. We're not perfect. And actually, it's better when leaders show that they're not perfect, right? Because no one's perfect. And if you're putting on that perfect front, people are going to start questioning your authenticity, and they're not going to want to buy from you. They're not going to want to work with you. They're not going to want to do those things if they don't know who you are, okay? So knowing that you're goofy and you mess up sometimes and you can't think of words, this is me. I can never think of words. It's part of anxiety. Like, I want to say something, I can't think of the word ball, okay? Like stuff like that. That makes me me, and that's just who I am. I'm not perfect. I'm human. Like I said, we all are. And once you, again, own that, then it's freeing, right? It's okay if you mess your words up. It's okay if you don't know a word. It's okay if you don't know the answer, right? You're not Google. You're a human with a heart, okay? Leaders build leaders. Directors build directors. This is something we preach in our leaders page. Leaders build leaders. If you're a leader now, your goal is to build more leaders. Okay, stop wanting to be the shiny upfront girl. If you're a true leader, you're down in the dirt with the rest of them. Okay, leaders build leaders. Once you're a director, your goal is to build directors. You want to bring everyone to the top with you. Whatever title you are, I don't care about titles, but they do come with bonuses. That's the goal, is to help people get to where you are. And if you have a problem with that, we need to do a reflection of your leadership, because there's room for everybody at the top in this business. Everybody in this business has the opportunity to be at the top. And once you realize that as leader for yourself and for your team, that's when things are going to boom, and you have that empowerment and what can happen from working together. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to end it with this. What time is it? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. 40 minutes. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so the biggest thing I want to leave y'all with is that this business is a choice. Busy is a choice. Success is a choice. And you can make that decision now and choose you tonight to evolve in your leadership and to change what you're doing in your leadership. And you're the only one who gets to choose that. And make that decision to start evolving. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. It may happen a little bit in a month. But everything that we do in this business is literally a choice. And you get to choose. So if you didn't lead very well yesterday, if you didn't lead very well today, if you weren't a great leader last month, or maybe you haven't been a really good leader for the last year. I was stuck at Star Consultant for 16 months and I don't even know who was on my team at that point. I was not a very good leader. But once I made that choice and I started to evolve in that change of what I was creating in my daily habits and those little changes and those mini goals, that's when things started to add up week after week, month after month. Because once I made that decision, it was full force forward. We were not going backwards. So that is what I'm going to leave y'all with tonight, that you get to make the choice to evolve. And that's the beauty of this business, is that it can literally be a $359 paycheck, or it can be a $12,000 paycheck a month, or more, a lot more. No ceiling income, okay? And I just want y'all to know that this business can be the vessel to get you to whatever you want. Not even just in this business, in your life, in your children's life. My boys don't know anything but Scentsy, okay? And they have no idea that we are setting them up for life and hopefully their children's life from a wax bar. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I'm sorry I kept you a little late. Know that you can always reach out to me. You have an amazing leader, Stacy, and I know that she will do anything for you to help you get to the next step. So just reach out and communicate. Love you guys. Bye.